Hello, YouTube. We are back with another class guide. I know it's been a while. I had some stuff planned and then work took over my life. So I do apologize for the later video. Today we're going to be looking at the Hunter, and later this week, if not then next week, I will be posting a guide for Captain as well. And Runekeeper is still on its way. And then after that, I'll either do Champion or Brawler. Still undecided yet, but I think I'll do possibly Champion. Anyways, it's been a while, so here is the Hunter guide. We're going to start off with Red. So Red is really good to level with. Once you hit maybe about level, I don't know, 25-ish, maybe 30, dealing with wraiths is quite easy. But up to that point, it's a little bit challenging. So starting off in blue when you do leveling is recommended earlier on. But red is really good for leveling. It's a lot of burst damage, and in landscape, burst damage is superior. Things will just fall over very, very quickly. So this is kind of what I use for leveling / dungeons. Raid is where Hunter really struggles. They're supposed to be getting a buff here soon, so that might make the difference. But for Raid, you actually want to go yellow, and I'll talk about yellow after the first two builds. But yeah, so this is kind of what I run with with red. Upshot is not good. You're better off using like penetrating shot 3 times than you are using like a full shot or like all 9 focus on upshot. Eventually, as we get higher levels, you'll want to finish the merciful shot one. You'll start going into blue to just get more range damage. Skills that consume focus do more damage. So we're almost at the point where red will be a little bit better, and hopefully with the buffs they'll also be good. Quick things to just showcase. Some people don't like putting all 5 points into fast draw. Some people don't like using all their points into quick draw, so that you can just get, you can put more points into impact arrows in blue, the focus damage, maybe not all 5 points into draw weight. You can kind of like take points from here and there to try to get some other stuff that's kind of just flat damage rather than like faster casts and stuff like that. But with all of this stuff and our legacies that I'll look at in a bit or showcase, is quick shot essentially becomes instant cast, which is kind of nice. And that becomes really useful later on. In terms of virtues, as always with any class, it's just stack that morale. Because Hunter's medium armor, you can get away with a little bit more offensive virtues if you choose, such as confidence, because crit is always really good on Hunter. So what I usually run is honor for the morale and tactical mitigation, fortitude for the morale and crit defense, fidelity for more vitality and tactical mitigation, and then justice. If you didn't want to use justice, you could use loyalty. Or if you wanted a little bit more crit, you could also do wit instead. And then there's confidence. As always, I never recommend valor, the physical mastery, just because it's not... Mastery cap is really easy to hit. Actually, if we take a look at my gear, which is kind of just trash, like I just hit 60 not that long ago, I'm essentially 400 points away from hitting the mastery cap. So I don't need to get that from virtues. I can get that when I get better gear. So that's why I never recommend Valor. You could do determination, because agility gives you a lot more crit, and there's also crit rating tied to determination as well. So you could do confidence and determination if you want more crit. You could do confidence and wit. I'd have to look at the spreadsheet, but I think because determination actually has agility, you'll actually gain more crit rating from determination that you will wit. Wit is really good for finesse rating, so like when we get into really high raids, like tier 3 to tier 5, way in the future, that's where wit might become a little bit more useful. But yeah, this is kind of I know my virtues look terrible, but this is essentially what I would run. In terms of gear, the Moria set for Redline is pretty much the best you're gonna get. Right, you got the Great Bow set. You don't need the 4-piece. You only need 3 pieces, which then means that you can have 3 other pieces as something else. And what I would recommend doing is just having boots, legs, and gloves as crafted pieces. So the March Warden's gear, I wonder if I can showcase if there's any on the auction house. If they're not, later I'm posting a screenshot of the yellow build, and the gear transfers over to Redline very, very nicely. But let's just see if there's like March Warden. Yeah, so this stuff, like this is just really good crafted gear. Resolute helm. So you could fill your boots, legs, gloves. You'd want to look at the stats specifically to see what you want more. Basically what's happening is the March Warden's gear is giving you way more crit, where the Watcher gear is just giving you a lot more vitality. So in this comparison here, the gauntlets, 35 agility versus 34 agility, but the March Warden's crafted gear comes with crit, so it's more crit, but there's a lot more vitality on it. So that's kind of the trade-off, and that's essentially the same all the way across. This is probably the best cloak you're gonna get, as it just has the most amount of crit. There might be a dungeon one that's slightly better, but I think this is actually the best bet. For the jewelry, there's the Lothlorien crafted pieces. There's the Sublime pieces. Then there's the Lothlorien 2-set jewelry, the 1 ring and the 1 earring, which also increases your range damage. For the exact stats, you'll see those in a little bit. I'll post them on the screen. And then there's the necklace that comes from, I think that one's Halls of Crafting. I'd have to double check, but again, I'll post it on the screen later, which increases your range damage. And then you'll want the pocket item, probably from the quest line, actually, the petrified goat dropping, just because it's so much vitality. It's just really good and it's really easy to get. So yeah, I'll post a screenshot of the best jewelry here in a bit. Now, in terms of the legacies, you know what? Let's map over to Rivendell as I talk about that. So the legacies that you'll want are, you can use for red and yellow. Blue, you'll want stuff a little bit different. But for red and yellow, you'll want the Heraldry of the Sparrow. You'll want 2 of those, just because you want the Sparrow one because it's technically more vitality, and that's just always better. Then you'll want the single target attack damage and the single target attack crit, which will be on the other weapon that you'll see. And you'll want the heroic precisions, and then for the class legacy, the class legacies, what you'll want is all the focus and induction bow stuff first. So focus bow critical multiplier, really good. Induction bow damage, really good, right? So how the focus bow and induction bow legacies work is, it seems straightforward, but it's not. It doesn't always come across that way. So focus bow critical multiplier is any ability that requires focus. So penetrating shot, merciful shot, those are the big ones in red. Blood arrow in blue, and then there's some traps in yellow. So that's why focus bow is really good. Induction bow is anything that has an induction. So this includes quick shot, barbed arrow, swift bow, heart seeker. I think there might be something else in blue and some other things in yellow. But so if it has an induction bow damage. If it uses focus bow crit. So and then you'll want strength stance, and then there's one more focus bow one that I haven't gotten yet because I've been saving my traceries for something else. Because I have the focus bow crit multiplier, we have induction bow damage. So there's the induction bow crit multiplier, right? You'll want that one. For red, I have right now the quick shot damage just because I got it while I was leveling, so I just put it on. This is one that you'll want later on in red for sure. But for now, you can use the two induction bow ones, right? Induction bow damage and induction bow crit multiplier. Those are better at this point in time. Now, I think that we went, yeah, so that's red line. We'll quickly do blue line. Blue line, the only difference from a legacy standpoint is you'll want barrage because it's your main source of damage, but then everything, so basically you would use barrage instead of strength stance damage, because for now blue line will use a little bit more precision because of the focus bow, or all the focus costs and stuff like that. But otherwise it's then the same. It's the same, like focus bow, right? Because focus bow will increase barrage and penetrating shot. Induction bow will increase, heart seeker and all that stuff like we went over. So that's why that's good. The best armor set for blue line is the DN set. It increases your barrage damage, and it should be one other thing, I think. Let me just double check here quickly. Hunter, where I have my spreadsheet pulled up. Yeah, increases barrage damage, and then the rapid fire duration is increased by 3 seconds, and then it reduces barrage's cooldown. So the 4-piece DN is really good for blue line. It's really good. However, and I guess the jewelry's the same. Jewelry's the same across the board, so you don't have to worry about that. Now we'll get to yellow. On screen, I will throw up a build that one of my guild members sent me or shared. And it'll show a build for yellow, and it'll show all of the jewelry and armor and stuff like that you want, because one, yellow line doesn't have an armor tier set bonus, right? Because red is Moria and blue is Lothlorien. There's nothing for yellow. So yellow has an advantage of kind of mixing and matching. So it's going to use a little bit of red to get some agility, and then it's going to use a lot of crafted armor pieces. But it's still going to use the same jewelry, right? It's still going to use the golden wood ring and stuff for the range critical chance. It's going to use the same necklace for the range damage. It's still going to use a turtle bracelet. And it's still all the legacies are going to be the same between red and yellow, and everything uses the same book as well. I guess I didn't technically go over book. I haven't bought a book yet, but just the Supreme Tome of the Wind Rider. We'll see if there's one in the auction house, which is why I didn't have one yet. But we can try. What if we put wind? So this is the book that you'll want critted. Supreme Book of the Wind Rider. So you'll need a scholar to make it for you. But yeah, it just helps with power costs. That's probably the best one you can get right now. And I think that's it. So the reason why yellow is really good in raid over red is just because red right now is super bursty. It's not as good as yellow in really long fights. And because of the state of Moria raids, all the boss fights are just really long. So the traps and mitigation debuffs, the dots, all that stuff combined in yellow makes yellow better than red from a pure damage standpoint. This will change slowly over time. It's just because of how overtuned or buffed Moria got when they released it on the legendary servers, that the dot builds and the mitigation and trap and all that stuff, that became kind of superior to red, as Hunter's damage is just really low at this level because we don't quite have everything that we need to meet everyone else. And a few more like expansions, like after Mirkwood, probably around Isengard is when like red and blue will really shine, because that's when we can start branching off more into other trees and we're just getting a whole lot more damage. And we have the buff coming up because Hunters have just needed a buff for a little while. So that'll be coming soon. But yeah, so you'll see the screenshot posted so that you can, pause, take a look at it, mess around. As always, these guides are not meant to be super like, this is what you must do. This is the best of the best. There's no reason to do anything else. These are always meant as just a quick little reference guide and allow you to kind of make your own informed decisions of, well, you know what? I don't like this one point here in the trait tree. I'd rather put it here. Or I find that this skill is more useful, so I do that instead of this. It's just meant to kind of guide and help you. And it's really for the newer players who are just trying to figure out, get a footing for the class, right? And try to help you set up yourself for Mirkwood as it's just around the corner here in 2 months. But the virtues are all the same. The legacies are essentially the same, with just the one exception of like the barrage damage versus strength stance. But yellow also uses strength stance, so that's why I feel like the red and yellow combination is just really nice to do, especially because both of them are going to share a lot of crafted armor pieces as well. Yeah, I think that is it. We went over trait trees, we went over the legacies, we went over virtues, we went over gear. So that is it. I think that kind of concludes it. I guess as a quick little tip for rotation, I don't have a rotation for yellow. I haven't messed around with it. I haven't gone even into a raid on my hunter yet. So I have no idea on how to help you with the yellow rotation just yet. So maybe those yellow hunters out there can help post some comments or something and show us the way, because I don't know yet. I haven't, yeah, as I said, I haven't messed around in raid yet on my hunter. But the quick tip I can give for red and blue is, for red, aside from just maintaining like a barbed arrow dot and just building up to like penetrating shot as much as you can, always use penetrating shot before you use heart seeker and merciful shot, because of course of the mitigation debuff. So you want to maintain that mitigation debuff as much as you can. You want to keep up your 3 stacks of quick shot as much as you can, right? Because that'll just make casting everything a lot faster. But eventually you'll get to a point where quick shot, even though barbed arrow technically does more damage because it's a higher hitting skill, as long as you're maintaining the dot, it's fine. But quick shot, because of how it's quick, and because it's essentially an instant cast skill, your damage output for maintaining focus is better with quick shot than it is barbed arrow. So spam quick shot. You don't need to spam barbed arrow as much. In blue, basically the goal is to just maintain so much focus where you're just alternating between barrage and penetrating shot. Barrage, penetrating shot. And then you have other skills to kind of get your focus up higher. But yeah, the goal is to just get those crits and alternate between barrage and penetrating shot, and that's how you'll get a lot of damage out there. But none of it compares to what yellow can do right now. Yellow is just better, so I'm told. Because again, I haven't run my hunter yet in raids. I just don't have the gear for it just yet. But guild members and friends have all said that yellow is superior in raid because of what it just gives to the raid overall. But yeah, so that concludes this guide. As I mentioned before, we'll be doing a Captain one here pretty soon. And Runekeeper one is still on the way. And then that'll be the last guide that we do in terms of classes until Mirkwood. I might be able to get 1 or 2 more classes at 60 to do a guide before Mirkwood, but I might just save them until Mirkwood comes out, just because of timing and everything. But yeah, thank you for watching. As always, I appreciate you all. The support on the channel has been amazing, and I love seeing the comments here and there on other social media posts saying that they've watched the videos and they've enjoyed the videos. So I thank you for that. But until next time, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.